The Nexus Station auction hall buzzed with the chittering of Zephyrians and the deep rumbles of Carathian merchants. Kanat stood at the back, his weathered human hands clasped behind him as he watched alien bidders dismiss lot after lot with disdainful clicks and hisses. The auctioneer, a six-armed Valdorian, gestured dramatically at the holographic display showing a massive, dark silhouette. Lot 847, pre-war Terran cruiser, designation resilience, severe structural damage, outdated systems, quantum drive offline. The auctioneer's voice dripped with barely concealed disgust. Opening bid 500 galactic credits. Silence filled the hall. A few beings actually laughed, high-pitched Zephyrian trills that sounded like breaking glass. Kanat watched as even the scrap dealers shook their heads and turned away. The massive ship rotated slowly in the hologram, its hull scarred and pitted, entire sections blown away to reveal twisted metal framework. Any bids? 400 credits? 300? The auctioneer's voice grew increasingly desperate. Kanat raised his hand. 500 credits. The hall erupted in shocked chittering. A massive Carathian turned to stare at him, its four eyes blinking in astonishment. Human, it rumbled. That ship is a floating tomb. The quantum cascade that damaged it should have made it radioactive for centuries. Kanat shrugged. I'll take that risk. 3 hours later, he stood in the docking bay beside Malice, a young human engineer with bright green eyes and grease-stained coveralls. She stared up at the Resilience with a mixture of awe and horror. Kanat, this thing is massive, she whispered. It's easily 3 kilometers long. And look at that damage. The entire starboard section is just gone. That's why nobody wanted it, Kanat replied, pulling up the ship's schematics on his portable scanner. They see destruction. I see potential. Malice shook her head, her auburn hair catching the harsh dock lights. The aliens think we're crazy. That Carathian merchant offered to buy me a drink if I could explain human logic. Did you take him up on it? I told him human logic doesn't require explanation. It requires demonstration. They spent the next 6 months living aboard the Resilience, working 18-hour days in the ship's cavernous interior. Malice proved to be a genius with quantum mechanics, jury-rigging systems that should have been impossible to repair. Kanat's experience as a former Earth Navy engineer allowed him to see solutions where others saw only problems. The alien community at Nexus Station watched their progress with bemused interest. Daily, curious beings would float past in maintenance pods, pointing at the humans crawling through the ship's exterior like industrious insects. The Zephyrians started a betting pool on how long it would take for the humans to give up. Week 26 and the mammals are still at it, observed Zixtal, a prominent Zephyrian trader, to his companion. Their persistence is almost admirable in its futility. Inside the ship, Malice looked up from a quantum relay she'd been reconstructing for 3 days. Kanat, I think I've figured out why the cascade damaged this ship so badly. Oh? It wasn't just any quantum cascade. This is residual damage from humanity's first contact war, the one the textbooks barely mention. The energy signatures match theoretical models of weapons that were supposedly never built. Kanat paused in his welding. What are you saying? I'm saying this ship didn't just survive humanity's most classified military operation. It was probably central to it. The damage patterns suggest it took direct hits from weapons that could crack planets. And it's still in one piece. Barely, but yes. They worked with renewed purpose. Malice discovered that the ship's quantum core hadn't been destroyed. It had been deliberately shut down and sealed. When she finally cracked the containment protocols, the core hummed to life with a sound like distant thunder. The lights came on. All of them. Throughout the station, monitoring systems registered the massive energy signature. In the auction house, the Valdorian auctioneer dropped his ceremonial gavel. 3 months later, the Resilience undocked from Nexus Station under its own power. The assembled crowd of aliens watched in stunned silence as the massive ship's engines ignited with brilliant blue fire. What had looked like catastrophic damage was revealed to be battle scars on a vessel that had been built to endure the unendurable. Molly stood on the bridge beside Kanat, her hands steady on the navigation controls. All systems green, Captain. Quantum drive stable, weapon systems. Well, let's just say this ship still has teeth. Through the viewports, they could see the alien ships giving them a very wide berth. The betting pools had closed. The Zephyrians were no longer laughing. Where to? Malice asked. Home, Kanat replied. Earth needs to know that humans didn't just survive that war. We built ships that could survive anything the universe threw at them. The resilience isn't damaged goods. She's proof that human engineering doesn't know how to quit. As they jumped to hyperspace, leaving Nexus Station far behind, the alien merchants were already spreading word throughout the galaxy. Never underestimate what humans see as worthless. In their hands, even the most broken things could rise again, stronger than before. The Carathian merchant found Zixtal at the station bar later that evening. "I have a question about human logic," it rumbled. "Save your credits," Zixtal replied, staring out at the stars where the resilience had vanished. "I'm beginning to think they don't operate on logic at all. They operate on something far more dangerous. Which is hope."